Hi. If you're here, most likely because you are interested in cars. If not, I guess you should click away now. But if I can convince you to stay, that'd be great. I'm Jesse, and this is basically going to be a channel, for the most part, about my 1991 Toyota MR2. Now, originally, the way I was going to make this video was I was going to have this whole, me walking around the car looking at it. Oh, it's so cool. But I'll still have that footage there, but it turned out pretty bad just because I wasn't looking at the right stuff, and the way I had my GoPro set up, it just wasn't basically a lot of the stuff wasn't that well in the frame. But I figured I could do this as well, just to kind of do some better audio for it, because the audio I have recorded with the GoPro didn't end up being that good. So bear with me, this is my first try, but I guess I should tell you guys a little bit about my 1991 MR2. So I bought it back on February 23rd for $2,500, and now that I think about it, that was a lot of money, but I did have the guy hold on to it for a while for me, so I guess in all fairness I owed him for that. So when I got the car, it was not running, and I was hoping that it wouldn't be anything too drastic, but as I got to taking off the engine oil filter, I had cut it open, and when I took apart the filament inside, it was all just glittery. And if you don't know what that means, basically you shouldn't have any metal whatsoever in your engine oil, because that would mean that you have wear, and ideally, and I guess virtually as well, you shouldn't have any metal shavings in your engine whatsoever, because there's a film of oil basically in between anywhere where it contacts. So where the journal for the crankshaft goes over the rods, the rods, there's a film of oil between that, so they shouldn't be touching at all the main bearings, they should not be touching. Unfortunately though, as I had to pull the engine at that point, so I had pulled the engine and I took off the oil pan, and as I was taking apart the bottom end, I'll put a video in here somewhere, but basically the cylinder number 1 had just the rod bearing for it was just gone. All the metal that was in the oil pan, all the metal that was in the filter, all the metal that I was finding throughout the engine, that was all the first rod bearing. So at that point, I was gonna have to do a whole rebuild. I mean, most likely I was gonna have to do a whole rebuild, but that's basically where I had, that's basically what I started off of. So I had the engine pulled, I started taking it all apart, and I took it to get machined. Now, luckily, the block was okay. Unfortunately, the crank obviously was not good, because since the bearing was gone, the rod was most likely just smacking against the journal on the crank. So that had to be replaced, and I'm doing a full rebuild. So right now I have some Wiseco 86.5mm 2618. That's the material for the pistons, as well as Eagle H-beam connecting rods. And I also sent the cylinder head out to be rebuilt, because I don't have the tools to do it myself, otherwise I would have tried. But like I said, or not like I said, but I really, as far as cylinder heads go, I've never really seen one get rebuilt. I mean, I work in a mechanic shop, so the stuff that I'm doing, I kind of know what I'm doing. But cylinder heads is a different beast, because you need the right tools and you need to know what you're doing as far as the spring, the compression and all that. So I sent that out to be rebuilt to ATS Racing, and they're out of Texas, and they specialize in the 3S GTE engine that is in the MR2 and one of the Celicas. I think it's the GT, not the newest one, but that's not, anyways. So yeah, and I basically had a rebuild by them. Titanium valve springs. I have the Brian Crower 264 cams in it, and it's a really nice rebuild. There's some footage of it. I'll show it, but basically, right now I'm at a point where I don't know where I want to go with the car. So either I do a full like crazy racing build, but because of the fact that I live in California, if I do this crazy horsepower build, I won't have the option to drive it on the street. It'll be confined to a track, and that's not what I want. I would like to drive it on the street, but obviously it's got to be emissions legal. It's got to be, you know, it's got to pass the visual inspections. It's got to do everything that a normal car on the street would, and that's a little tough because restoring it to a point where it's like legal that's not the hard part. It's just the horsepower is just so, you know, it's nice. So basically, as far as horsepower goes, I'm shooting for around 350 because ATS Racing, the same place where I sent the cylinder head, I'll post a link in the description for this. They also have like recipes for the MR2 where, like, you know, if you want a 350 horsepower build, or if you want a 450 horsepower build, or just generally building horsepower with the 3S GTE engine. So I'm following the 350, and it's going to require a tune. Most likely I'm going to have to put E85, which is fine. E85 is legal in California, but it's the tune that I'm worried about. So it's just it's a lot of stuff to consider, and it's the point I'm at now is basically, where do you want to go? Like, I can't move on from this point. Well, I guess I could just rebuild the engine, but I don't have the stuff for it yet. But I cannot move on from this point without deciding whether I want to become legal or whether I want it to become a racing car. But yeah, this is just an intro video. I'm just trying to like kind of let you guys know about my car, and you know, hopefully we can get some traction from here. Yeah, that's it. So thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. If you liked, drop a like down below. I mean, even if you want, subscribe, leave a comment, and let me know what you guys think I should do as far as going emission legal or just a race car. And yeah, I guess I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.